This show is not intended for children under the age of 13. If you think your parents love you, go ask them. You might be surprised at their answer.
On October 20th, 1967, me and Roger were riding up the creek in Bluff Creek, and we looked to past the root ball to our left, and up stood this creature. Now, you all know the story from here, but this is the confession. So, when I chased this creature up the bowling alley just after the sandbar there, she kind of put her two hands on this log and started to bend over and shake her rear end there profusely, and I saw those Bigfoot cheeks clap. And I looked back, and Roger, he was doing some relaxed dance, and he said, "Now everybody in the club getting tipsy." I'm not sure what that meant. And, well, all I thought was, they really are real. They really do exist. So that's the confession, and Russell Accord can suck my...
Yeah, well, a lot of folks did call him Too Good, but that wasn't because he was sporting two pistols. That was because he had a dick that was so big, it was longer than the barrel on that Walker Colt that he carried.
I'm here to do one thing, is to bring one of these creatures back. I don't want to talk right now.
So don't get mad.
Just keep the camera off right now, okay? I said I don't want to talk. You got it? Joan, get me a Snapple.
Joan, get me a Snapple. Get your own down Snapple, Tom. Jackass. Welcome, everybody, to the Squatchers Lounge podcast. We are back at it once again. Hello, as usual. This episode is brought to you by the Indian Creek Hatchery at Gold Beach, Oregon. If you got some extra bucks, throw it their way, because they're a good bunch of people. Put just shy of 90,000 salmon back in the river again this year, and I'm going for the Derby next year. That's going to happen. So with that, I am back here at it. This, getting the close to Halloween. I figured I'd bring up some of the scarier stuff that comes along with Bigfoot. And for years, decades now, we've heard stories and tells of, Bigfoot's killing people and running off with people, and even old David Pilates. I can never pronounce that dude's name. It's not that important. He even suggests that a lot of these people missing in national parks might be taken by Bigfoot. So, why not? What's really going on? So I dug a little bit into it tonight, and I found us some strange but interesting stories that go along with a lot of that stuff. Apparently a man in Oklahoma killed his noodling buddy because he said that he was calling Bigfoot to come and kill him. A man who claimed Bigfoot forced him to murder his friend during an ill-fated fishing excursion was apparently convinced that the mythical monster had been lurking in the area for several years, according to the victim's devastated ex-wife. Larry Sanders, 53, allegedly murdered his childhood best friend, Jimmy Knighton, 52, in Pontotoc County, Oklahoma, on Saturday, and the two men fished with their hands along the South Canadian River. That's noodling for you there, folks. Look at that. I said, no thanks. No thanks. No thanks. No thanks. I can't. No thanks. Well, eat up. Let's see here. Apparently, a statement issued by the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation on Monday said that the two men got into a confrontation, resulting in Sanders allegedly strangling Knighton to death and drowning him in the river. In an interview with the U.S. Sun, Knighton's ex-wife, Stacy Kelly, not related to the old Rev here, said the confrontation was sparked after Knighton started hitting in a tin bell to lure fish to the surface of the water. Sanders, described as an avid believer in Bigfoot, apparently grew paranoid that Knighton had other more sinister and bizarre intentions. He's been claiming that there's a Bigfoot in the area for several years who had been friends with Knighton since high school. And his belief was that Jimmy was summoning the Bigfoot and was planning on leaving him in the woods, I guess to be eaten by him. I don't know what Jimmy was meant to have done, but the only thing I was told was that he was banging on a tin bell or piece of pipe and was just trying to find the fish. And I guess Larry took it a different way. Kelly was married to Knighton for 20 years, and the pair had 3 children together, ages 20, 28, and 29. Although they had been divorced, they still shared a close relationship, with Knighton serving as an honorary popo to the young children Kelly had with her second husband. Wow. You know, I called my son while I was out there, and he told me that Larry told me he'd killed him. I don't know the exact circumstances, but my son held him there until the cops arrived. But he was determined to bring Knighton home. She assisted law enforcement in their search for his body, describing the hours that followed as stressful. She spent much of the search holding her breath and just praying that neither she nor any of the children would be the ones to actually find him. It was like almost as time stood still. Jesus, God in heaven, don't drink and go noodling. That's what I can kind of say about that. Don't do that. That's god awful. Killer Bigfoot murders. The Bigfoot killed a trapper in Idaho, apparently. Oh, good God. No, I can't do this. Talking about the Bozeman story, but I can't. I'm sorry. I have to skip that because it mentions something that if I utter it, it'll turn me into a dragon, and I don't want to become a dragon. I want to become a Bigfoot. Anyhow, speaking of Bigfoot killings, a new documentary series premiering on Hulu this last April pushes the boundaries between true crime and urban legend. The story starts as a decades-old rumor that 3 cannabis farmers were murdered by Bigfoot in Northern California. That story is strange enough, but Sasquatch reveals it's only part of the bizarre saga. Wow. The team behind the docuseries isn't known for monster hunting. Director somebody or other helmed the Lorena Bobbitt series. Wow. Yeah. If you people don't know who Lorena Bobbitt was, she got mad at her husband and John Wayne Bobbitt, and she cut off his unit, took it with her for a car ride, and tossed it out in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven. But not to be not to be outdone, don't worry. The EMTs found John Wayne Bobbitt's dick, and they rushed it to the hospital so that it could be reattached. And John says, "Don't worry about it. It's even longer and bigger than it was before." Apparently, there is an adult, an adult pornography movie that stars the famous John Wayne Bobbitt post choppy. God damn, that was such a sick story. I'm trying to be as kind about it as I can, but that woman cut that man's dick off and he lived. I don't want to live. You cut my dick off, stab me in the heart, please. Just get it the fuck over with. Apparently, the gonzo journalist at the center of the documentary has previously infiltrated street gangs and white supremacist groups. So he's going up on Murder Mountain to infiltrate. Yeah, that's real smart. Unlike the crime stories the crew has worked on, nearly every element of this case is uncertain. They venture into Mendocino County to follow up on the Bigfoot murder mystery he first heard in 1993. Throughout the investigation, he learns that the story perhaps isn't the quirky local legend it seems to be, and there are people in the community who want it to just stay forgotten. That's right. Bunch of freaking bullcrap. Here's another one from the Daily Beast. New Hulu docuseries. The Sasquatch investigates the claim of the massacred 3 people involved in the dangerous marijuana trade in Northern Carolina. The only thing that makes it dangerous, the only thing that makes the marijuana trade in Northern California dangerous is the law enforcement with guns. That's the only way it gets dangerous, because the rest of us are just smoking pot and getting high. Okay, so there isn't any dangerous marijuana trade in Northern California. We just want to make a little bit of money so we can grow next year's dope. Bunch of jackasses. Speaking of which, hey, you know what we should do? We should definitely say howdy. And boot that up there and say hello to the people in our universe. Give some shout outs here to the people hanging out live with us tonight. Mr. Shane Barber. Oh, I swear, the number one fan of the Squatchers Lounge podcast, my friend. I am so glad you are with us. Watches more reruns than practically any other person. I bet you, 3 million of my 4 million views probably come from Shane. Ken the Viking. Hey man, you and I need to talk. I have something very Viking-y coming up in January. And I kind of gave you a preview for it in chat, but I would like come to your feedback if I can. Eric Wright, hello there, sir. Welcome along. There is Mr. Aaron Duncan, and I'm sure Miss Mary has the tippity tappity in her fingers, and we'll say hello. Miss Trudy Lou misses you. You see her over there in her chair. Yeah, she has such a sad life. She has moved from there since I took that picture and posted it earlier, but that is like her favorite place to be, if not in her kennel sleeping. Of course, I just cut and dried and trimmed 3 out of my 6 plants over the last couple of days, and I am now sitting on a pile of Maui, goo, and cheesel so far. I'll have some skunk in a jar come tomorrow, and for sure it's going to be crazy because this year was amazing. Barely any bug damage whatsoever. It got hot, so the buds got kind of airy, but I'm not selling it. It ain't for sale, and I'm so goddamn stupid on cheesel tonight, I can barely see straight. So, yeah, that's what's happening in my world. I hope your world's just getting to be that much the same. And there, Miss Bella Allegria joins us tonight. Hello, I'm glad you're well enough to join us. Kit! God bless it. Get it all over my daggone new screen. That's right, I got a beautiful new 32-inch curved immersive. I can actually read the letters on. It's amazing to actually be able to read again. My monitor, my eyes have gotten so bad that my old monitor I couldn't see anymore. And thankfully, when we came back from our trip, it took a giant shit. So now I have had an excuse to get a new monitor. Mr. Rod Dupree, he's always in the place to be. There's our friend Tommy from Boston. It looks like it's going to be around a Father's Day trip next year to the Lassen Volcanic Park. That's pretty much a guarantee that the roads will be open. Any sooner than that, we might have to punt for a different location. So we want to go to Lassen and hang out in the volcanic park and talk Bigfoot. Get a hold of me and we will get you the final dates as the new year approaches. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Lassen Volcanic Park. There's a lot of Bigfoot stories from up there. And hello there, Miss Dixie Q. I'm so glad you are with us tonight. I'm sure your cousin Dixie Normus is going to be checking in later. Grasshopper et al. Hello, Grasshopper. So glad you could join us. Obsidian Radio is back. All right. Glad you're here. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad everybody's hanging out tonight with us. Kevin K in the 831. Hello, Kevin. Frank Floor. How you doing, Frank? Frank's your buddy. Frank's the kind of guy you get drunk with. Frank's just a lot of good things. Hello, Frank. And there's Mark K. Webster. Hello, Mark. Glad you are with us tonight as well. And our buddy Can Squanch is back. Hello, Can Squanch. And the Kaiju Ninja. What up, Kaiju? That's right. Mythical monster, my butt. Gone Trappin's back with us. Hello there, Gone Trappin. So cool for everybody. Travis Bumpy. Wow, we haven't seen that name in a while. Hello, Travis. Glad you're back. And let's see here. Who else is floating around inside here? If I missed you, better speak up because I don't want to miss anybody. That's right. Well, Tommy, New Hampshire is not California, so that's gonna be not works. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. What are my thoughts on the whole Mark Zasky shit going on right now? Let me see here. I'm not exactly sure how. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Mark Zasky. Let's see here. What is the Mark Zasky shit going on right now? Crypto reality. I'm proud to say I have now undeniable footage of the Bigfoot species. Was shot in Florida. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. How about that? Yeah, those animals don't look like that. You don't have to zoom in. You don't have to circle them. They don't. You don't have to. Yeah, sure, whatever, Mark. Yeah. Somebody looking for fame. It's not undeniable proof. I mean, it literally took 30 seconds of HD video for the Billy ape to actually be considered for species analysis, and then they found some poop, and then they found a troop, and then they got some DNA. That's the way it works. I know that there are Bigfoot in Florida. Don't get me wrong. There are Bigfoot as far south as probably the Ocala National Forest. And then further south down into the Everglades and the sawgrass swamps and a lot of that area, there's something else. And that's the skunk ape. It's something else. It's not a Bigfoot. It looks more orangutan. It's not as big as the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot as we call them. Okeechobee from Ocala north, those are Sasquatch. From the Green Swamp down, those are most likely skunk ape, and I don't think that they overlap. So yeah, the Mark Zakowski is in Florida trying to say that he has undeniable proof of Bigfoot. But how many other people? I believe Rick Dyer made that claim like 8 times. So that's my opinion on it. And thanks for asking, because it took me a minute to jog my memory, but apparently I did. Let's see here. Sorry. When we get to the point, I'm not even sure who Pat is, Kaiju. You're going to have to help me with that one. I don't watch a lot of other shows, and it's unfortunate. I just, I like to. I just don't. I've been in this a decade now, and it's kind of hard to watch other people. Often, I do like the Hairy Man and hoaxes. Sasquatch, Collier, Wilmus. That's right. If you haven't seen it up close, there he is up close, and it is fantastically detailed, handmade, hand painted. I mean, it's just freaking fantastic. He's gonna have a whole line of the cryptids coming out, and we'll see where it goes from there. So you can get a hold of our boy Collier, and yeah, I'm not sure if he has any Bigfoots left, but you may get on board for the next ones. I am just all blown out by that Cheezel swat. Sorry. Yeah. We were talking about Bigfoot killings is what we were talking about. There is one other one that I kind of wanted to talk about. The Sasquatch hunters near Houston say that they were attacked by Bigfoot. Now, this goes all the way back March 16th, 2015. Wow, that's already like friggin' 7 years ago, over half a decade ago. Good God. The Sasquatch didn't like it when the explorers in the Sam Houston National Forest drew too near to him last week. And in his fury, he hurled giant logs at the curious humans. That's according to Wes Germer, host of Sasquatch Chronicle podcast. Yeah. Whose team ventured into the East Texas piney woods with the guide of Bob Garrett and Sons, a Conroe family of self-declared cryptozoologists who have tracked the legendary creatures through the woods north of Houston for years and who document their findings in various Bigfoot blogs. Sounds really official. I'll tell you a story about that in just a minute. Expedition didn't photograph the monsters. It seems the Sasquatch is bashful for cameras, as it never appears in photos before, but that doesn't mean that the research didn't get close enough to the mysterious subjects. That's right. My heart was pounding in my throat, said Germer on this Sunday podcast as he recounted his chilling brush with the unknown giant. In the early night, the forest was tame as Germer and Garrett sat and chatted in camp while the crew was out exploring with flashlights and night vision goggles, and then the noise came. We hear the thing crash through the brush, and then we hear this thing start crashing, just crash, 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 crash. Germer's head, and you can hear it walking, and you can hear it breaking branches as it's going. At first, he said he was upset by one of the team members was making such a racket, and then it's strange that someone would try to navigate without a light. But quickly he noticed a faint glow of the lights far away, and all of his team gathered in the distance. Garrett announced this forest creature wasn't one of them. The giant bolted off and plowed fiercely through the dense brush with astonishing speed. Wow. The commotion settled in Germer estimated the creature was just 30 or 40 feet behind the tree line to the campground, but the thick obscured it entirely. Garrett, a seasoned East Texas trekker, loaded his gun and ducked into the brush to catch a glimpse of the monster. Germer followed, but a glimpse would never come. Because as the two men neared the spot where they heard the beast lurking, a noise grew in the air, like the beating of a helicopter blades coming straight for them. And I knew what it was. It was a log coming, and it was a big log. And you could hear it being thrown, Germer said. And I ducked down because I thought for sure it was going to hit one of us in the head. The two men were lucky to come out with their lives. And Garrett declaimed the beast had issued them a warning. But it wasn't the only time Sasquatch threw logs at unwelcome intruders in his forest domain. So you've had enough big logs thrown at you in the dark, Germer, that you know the sound of it coming without seeing it? What the hell are you doing to piss that many people off that they're throwing logs at you in the forest? This sounds like a fantastic story. Somebody recently asked me what I felt about Wes Germer because they had just discovered the Sasquatch Chronicles show, and there were a bunch of people that were on board with Wes and his buddy Woody, and they started Sasquatch Chronicles, and Will Jevning and Into the Fray, freaking Shannon LeGros was all part of that team, and they were going to build this network of just cool stuff. As you can see, what Into the Fray grew into, I mean, it's grown into a pretty decent little offering, or big offering even. But suddenly, everybody jumped off board. Will Jevning just decreed he was done. He was out. He was no longer part of that. Shannon was soon to follow, and not long after that, Woody quit, and it was just Wes left. Because their initial story about how they saw these 5 Sasquatch tummy crawling and commandoing around their truck was just all total bullshit. And the jig was up. Like, they were outed. Like, everything, the whole weather conditions that they described was wrong. The moon was wrong. Nothing lined up. Nothing. It was just a made up bunch of bullshit. And somehow he has still parlayed that into one of the biggest Sasquatch followings out there, simply because he is literally, the Art Bell of Bigfoot. If it's bullshit, he can make it sound like it's gold bars. And he's selling gold bars that are made out of bullshit to everybody. When this whole Garrett thing came up, I was approached. They wanted me to help, be credible to Bob and his son and a bunch of bullshit, and I didn't believe a damn bunch of it. And Wes Germer sent me a private message personally to ask me to get on board with it because, man, there'll be so many clicks and so many views and so many hits if you just get on board with this, man. We need somebody credible to follow along. And of course, I gave him the middle finger because I don't do bullshit like that. I would disappoint all of you, and all of you people are far more important than any of those jackasses that follow those guys. But it was all a bunch of horse shit. This torn up camp story. Basically, they had come across this camp that was just like destroyed. The side of the tent was burnt and smoldering, and there was supposedly blood all over the place, and they found bodies up in trees, and one of them was without a head, and there were all these Bigfoot tracks all around the place, and the Department of the Interior and the Sheriff's Department were hiding all of it, and they were covering all this up. And people like Julie Wrench, I mean, they went to the table, man. They started calling these friggin' law enforcement offices and started going up the chain of command and just started asking questions. And they're like, lady, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. What are you, one of them nut jobs? And she's like, no, these people are claiming that this stuff happened there, and we're just trying to track down exactly what was going on. If a Bigfoot killed a bunch of people, we kind of need to know about it. And he's like, man, nothing like that's happened. We don't know what you're talking about. So they couldn't get any real credibility going for that whole story. I mean, they obviously faked it because there was video footage of the tent that was all fucked up and the camp that was all wrecked, but there was never any footprints in any of the video. There was never any, them zooming the camera in on a track or something that would made to be think that was made by a Bigfoot. I mean, any drunk asshole could have screwed a tent up like this, got himself on fire, and an ambulance took him out of there. I don't know. But after all of that, then all of a sudden they wanted to start offering $5,000 trips into the Sam Houston National Forest to go Bigfooting with none other than Bob Garrett and Sons. And it was just like, whoa, what the fucking fuck, man? So you tell out this horrible fucking lie story of bullshit, and then all of a sudden you've got, people signing up to give you $5,000 a weekend to go out into the woods with you. And that's what this story about him and Germer being out there in the Sam, somebody might have been out in the woods, but it definitely wasn't a Bigfoot. I mean, yeah, all these things may have happened, but kind of like the guaranteed Bigfoot activity that Seward promises over there at that other Bigfoot show. I can't even remember what the hell, Monster X, is that what they do? I'm sorry, I'm so bad. Anyhow, so Russ Germer has zero credibility. Bob Garrett has zero credibility. And anybody that puts any kind of credibility into that story, well, yeah, it's a bunch of shite. So that's what I think. Bigfoot Chronicles, Wes Germer, and a bunch of bullshit. Ta-da! There we go. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I was talking about, was Bob Garrett. Yeah, it's all a bunch of shite, to be honest with you. I want them all to be real. You all know that. I want every single Bigfoot story, picture, red circle, whatever. I want it all to be real, but unfortunately, they're just not. And I'm not going to be that guy who just tries to suck on to anything to make you people believe that they're out there. There's no reason that they're not out there. The paranthropists have always been beside us, and there's no reason that they wouldn't still be out there in far less numbers now than ever before, but they're still out there, and we just kind of need to, I'm if I see one, I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to shoot the shit out of it. I'm going to put I'm going to be like Krantz. If it's the last one, then so be it. At least it'll be cataloged that we weren't all crazy. But that's really the only reason that that I wouldn't, that I would do it. I don't want to catch one. I don't want to put one in captivity. I think that'd be fucking horrible. I don't think anybody in this world has the facilities to be able to try and take care of a Sasquatch and any of its needs, let alone what does it eat? What kind of vitamins does it need? What kind of exercise does it need to not go into depression? I mean, the poor damn gorillas in the zoo are so sad. It's insane that I want to go look at them because they're in the zoo and I want to make them feel better, but I can't, and it makes me sad because I feel that as an empath. I feel their sadness. Anyhow, that's what's going on in the world of Bigfoot killings. I don't know. Lots of stories, no proof. Somebody said something to me today. It was just like, oh, they're spraying fentanyl on marijuana now, and I was like, why? I don't know why they would do that, but how many people have you heard die of marijuana overdose with fentanyl? Nobody. So, yeah, it's like an urban legend, but it's one of those things. It's got to be proven before you can say too much about it. Something to Sasquatch about. Hello there. I'm glad you have stopped in late this evening. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah. Bike week. Yeah, Father's Day is friggin' squatching weekend, man. I didn't say won't necessarily be Father's Day weekend though. I haven't decided, but it'll be close to that. It has to be after like the second week of June. So, and it needs to be in the month of June. So we'll have to see how that's going to work. And with that, you know what? I didn't do a Quasi and I didn't do a camping tips because, well, I was really late to get into the show. I was hanging out with my son before the show and completely forgot about it. And then 20 minutes before the show, he reminded me. And then I went to get on my links and I accidentally clicked close on them. So it just went out the freaking door. So with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of the Squatchers Lounge podcast. Let me see here. Next week is the 26th. Yeah, I will definitely have a show next week on the 26th. The week after, most likely not, because I will be seeing doctors and getting some more cancer surgery done. So, nothing, it shouldn't take me too long to recover from that, but it is right before Thanksgiving. The holidays are coming, and the fan editions are going to be starting the beginning of November. Any of you are welcome to join me for a show, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Get in contact with me. Literally, it's not hard to do. If you've got a smartphone, then you can be part of the show too. Come hang out with me if you want to. You're all invited. We can have more than one person come on and hang out, whatever the case may be. Just get in contact with me. I'm on Facebook, jeffreywkelly@gmail.com. It's my personal email. Don't give that out to anybody. Yeah, or whatever the case may be, send me a message here next week with your email and I will message you guys. So till then, I want to say thank y'all for being here and may the Squatch be with you until next week. Bye-bye. Take care and love one another.